Omni-Man, Viltrumite soldier turned invincible savior. Pink Diamond, renegade Rose of the Diamond Authority. Do you believe in second chances? That the worst the universe has to offer can one day find the love within them to leave a better world for those who come after? Perhaps those thoughts can warm something even within the coldest hearts. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick, and it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. The clouds part, the citizens cheer, and the bad guy is defeated. This can only mean one thing: the arrival of the world's greatest superhero, Omni-Man. In a world full of heroes and villains and all manner of threats, this mustachioed man stands above the rest as the paragon of heroism. He's got all your classic superhero powers. He's super strong, super fast, can fly, and is nigh invincible. He's got enhanced senses, can hold his breath for 2 weeks, and has regenerative abilities that let him bounce back from otherwise fatal injuries with minimal aid. It's no wonder the world premier superhero team, the Guardians of the Globe, wanted him on their side. Unfortunately, he refused to join, but was always in contact as a reserve member in case things went south for them. When he wasn't off saving the world, Omni-Man lived the life of best-selling author Nolan Grayson, living with his wife Debbie and son Mark. Like everyone's favorite Blue Boy Scout, Nolan was actually an alien, having arrived on Earth back in the 1980s before settling in as its new protector, using his extraterrestrial gifts to safeguard peace. Or so he'd like you to think. Truth is, Nolan's facade masked a much darker purpose. He was a Viltrumite, hailing from the planet Viltrum, and was a member of one of the most militaristic species in the universe. Nolan had actually been sent to Earth as a sleeper agent, meant to prime the planet for conquest. Using his ties to the Guardians, Nolan would lure them into a trap and kill them, crippling Earth's potential defenses. His son Mark was set to become his successor, developing into a powerful warrior like his father, but his powers were taking a while to develop. Nolan was outraged at this setback, but for a fleeting moment thought maybe it'd be okay. Maybe they could just be a family. And this terrified him, not the thought itself, but the fact he thought it. His loyalty to Viltrum was unwavering, and these people so far below him surely wouldn't change that. They couldn't. And yet, Nolan found himself genuinely caring for the people he had made a family out of. For as much as he told himself it was all for the mission and was just an act, he truly loved Debbie and Mark. But he couldn't let that slow him down. He had to put his feelings behind him. With Mark's powers finally kicking in, it wouldn't be long until the boy realized his father's true nature. Mark, now going by the heroic name Invincible, did battle with his father, and Omni-Man beat him down horribly, within an inch of his life. Mark's training was nothing compared to his father's. Nolan had been an elite soldier for millennia. Nolan was overcome with emotion. Every internal struggle he had suppressed let out. These people Mark was fighting to protect would go through dozens of generations before Mark died. Mark would have to watch everyone he cared for die over and over. What was the point in all this? What would he still have? And Nolan was given an answer by Mark. Him. He'd still have his dad. Nolan broke down. He couldn't bring himself to kill his son. His face and his cause shaken, Nolan couldn't bear to stay on the planet or look his family in the eyes again. He flew off into space, taking time to contemplate and reflect on everything. He'd try to start a new life, safe in the Viltrumite Empire, but eventually his son would find him. But there was no fighting. The pair had a hug. Nolan having left his conquering ways behind him, handy when the planet would soon be attacked by Viltrumites. The pair did what they could, but Nolan was defeated and captured, being sentenced to execution. He'd escape his sentence with fellow convict Alan the Alien, and the pair would begin a two-man resistance, traveling the universe to gather resources and allies to stand up to the Viltrumite Empire. And traveling through space is no problem when you're Omni-Man. During his journey, he was able to fly from Earth to the Virgo supercluster in just a week, which would require speeds of over 3 billion times the speed of light. Yeah, Viltrumites like him mean business. A single one can tear through whole armies of advanced robots and warships, and Nolan himself has single-handedly wiped out at least one planet. Even standard starships can fire shots capable of blowing up this massive sun-sized disk, meaning they'd be packing firepower equivalent to 290 zetatons of TNT, enough to level a planet. and Nolan can power through these sorts of attacks and cleave through the ships like butter. And this is consistent with Nolan's own showings of power. At the height of the Great War against Viltrum, Nolan would work alongside his son and fellow Viltrumite Thaddeus to destroy the planet, flying through and tearing it apart with their bare hands. Though they're not without weakness. While they can resist extreme temperatures, truly intense heat like that of a sun can kill them, and sonic frequencies can disrupt their equilibrium, stunning them. And their regeneration isn't perfect. It's not fast-acting enough to fix huge wounds mid-fight of anything, and if the brain or heart is destroyed, it can't do much of anything. As it turns out, pure-blood Viltrumites were actually an endangered species of sorts. The Empire was on its last legs in its current state. Viltrum had begun a mass migration to Earth, hoping to rebuild and reproduce there. But deep down, Nolan knew it would be okay. He knew that the new generations of Viltrumites born and raised on Earth would see the world for what it really was, for what he knew it could be. He had made peace with his son and wife, and swore to never again keep any secrets from his family. He truly would be the protector he always said he was. The tyrannical reign of Viltrum had come to an end. As it turns out, Nolan was actually found to be an heir to the throne, but he would decline this power in favor of peace and diplomacy. Unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to see the fruits of his efforts. In a final battle, Omni-Man was killed by the former Viltrumite Emperor Thrag, but he died content. He gave it his all, and in the end, his son would carry on his legacy and bring a new era of peace to the universe. Nolan Grayson may be dead, but everything he, both as Nolan and Omni-Man, stood for is thriving. Nolan was not a good man, but he became one. The love of being a father changed him, and in turn, changed the fate of everyone. Whether Nolan's actions truly made up for the countless worlds he conquered, we'll let you decide. On some level, maybe not even he knows if he did. But let none say he didn't try.
You don't seem to understand. Earth isn't yours to conquer.
Thousands of years ago, the planet Homeworld served as the hub for the ever-growing Gem Empire. The world was inhabited by, well, the Gems, strange alien beings formed from gemstones. Their bodies are physical manifestations of energy projected from their core gem, and as such they can change their appearance and recover from almost any wound as long as their gem is intact. With their unique physiology, the Gems, led by the Great Diamond Authority, would expand their reach across the universe. The Diamond Authority consisted of the four most powerful gems: White Diamond, Blue Diamond, Yellow Diamond, and the newest addition, Pink Diamond. Unlike the other diamonds, Pink wasn't entrusted with colony management or other higher duties. Instead, her job was to throw celebrations in honor of her peers. As you can imagine, constantly being denied any higher purpose for thousands of years sorta took a toll on her. She begged and begged and begged to get a colony of her own, until finally the other diamonds caved. Though there was a reason it took them so long. Pink didn't exactly have the right demeanor for the job. She was incredibly vivacious and full of childlike whimsy, but having been bottled up for millennia, she had also become rather selfish and was prone to outbursts. She'd get into arguments with her fellow diamonds, cause disastrous accidents, injure her servants, and even abandon her best friend in space for thousands of years once something more appealing caught her eye. Damn, that something, mind you, was her own colony, finally granted to her. Earth. Thrilled at the notion of seeing a new generation of life brought forth, Pink eagerly accepted the position, setting up shop on a lunar base with her servant Pearl as the colonization got underway. But as she spent time monitoring her station, things began to change. She saw just how violent the colonization was, and began to realize that she wasn't creating life at all. She was ending it indiscriminately. But to cover this stretch of her story, we're gonna hand the mic over to an expert on Pink's origin. Origin.
Thanks for the introduction. Hello everyone, I'm Origin the Hero, resident gem history specialist. Following her epiphany, Pink would plead with the Diamonds once more, this time to spare Earth. The Diamonds responded by making a people zoo and continuing to entrust Pink with colonization. Pink was soon fighting literal battles as well, as the lower-class gems on Earth began to rally under the banner of a new rebel faction known as the Crystal Gems, led by a mysterious individual known as Rose Quartz. This would culminate in a final battle between Pink and Rose, in which Pink, distracted by her internal struggle, was left vulnerable, and was struck down and killed by Rose. The rebellion had won, and Pink had been slain. Or so she'd like you to think. In reality, Pink and Rose were one and the same. Remember how we mentioned gems could change their appearance earlier? Yeah, Pink had gotten it into her head that if she died, her allies would be forced to recall the colony. Rose Quartz was her alter ego, building up a resistance force, and with the help of Pearl, faking the death of Pink Diamond, permanently assuming the guise of Rose. Her scheme didn't quite go according to plan, but covering that involves some number crunching, so I'll pass the mic back over. Until next time, and thanks for having me.
Boomstick, who was that? Don't worry about it. Well, anyways, instead of pulling out, the diamonds pooled their power into a massive blast, shooting all the way from Homeworld to Earth and corrupting all the gems on the planet. Yeah, we weren't kidding when we said these diamonds are powerful. While the beam itself may have just been a corruption trigger, the diamond still created this massive flash of light in space. A flash that big and bright, visible from Earth and across the galaxy, would take about 2 quatertons of TNT. That's 30 zeros. And since Pink is a diamond herself, she should be comparable to a third of that yield. Pink was able to make a barrier capable of protecting her and her closest gems, Garnet and Pearl. And while the rest of the gems on Earth were neutralized, the Diamond Authority did take their eye off the planet, assuming it dealt with the supposed death of Pink revitalizing their conquest elsewhere. Pink, in turn, would settle into her new life on Earth as Rose Quartz. She'd fall in love, eventually marrying the man Greg Universe and living peacefully in the town of Beach City. Damn, I wish I had a last name like Universe. Wait, do I even have a last name? I thought your last name was Boomstick. What? Why? Well, your mom is Mama Boomstick, right? So wouldn't that mean Boomstick is the family name? My god. Well, anyways, Rose, maybe on some level thinking herself unworthy of carrying on, decided to have a child with Greg. This was a monumentous decision, as gems cannot reproduce biologically. Instead, Rose would effectively reset her consciousness, reforming herself into a new incarnation born from her love. This incarnation was the boy Steven Universe, and was brought up by Greg and the Crystal Gems. Even if they tried to kill him initially, they really wanted Rose back at first, but came to respect her decision. Since Steven is a reincarnation of Pink, she should largely be capable of the same things he is. Impressive when he and the Crystal Gems can keep up with this robot that jumped from Homeworld to Earth in such a short time frame that by the time Homeworld noticed it was missing, it was already fighting on Earth. Assuming a time frame of an hour, that would be almost 87 billion times the speed of light. And those sorts of speeds are actually consistent with other gem showings. The gem Lapis Lazuli was able to fly across the galaxy and back, and Garnet was able to intercept Steven while moving at warp speeds. And if that giant light wasn't enough, Steven could battle the Cluster, which was capable of destroying the whole Earth. In addition to raw strength and speed, Pink and Steven have access to a whole host of special abilities. Their go-to are energy constructs, walls, bubbles, platforms, even weapons like swords and shields. These constructs are just as tough as they are, and they can range from small enough to wear like a glove, or big enough to cover an entire forest. A sword is a favorite of Pink's. She even has one of her own, no constructs needed, that she can pull out of her gem, though she lacks much in the way of proper combat training and experience, still being somewhat of a kid at heart. She can still throw tantrums if enough pressure is on her, and her screams are powerful enough to shatter walls. She's still highly intelligent though, and is a tactical genius. Her bubbles can also teleport their contents away to other places, allowing her to better control the battlefield. She can fly, and even create sentient plant creatures to act as her protectors, and she can extend her regeneration to others to heal or even resurrect them through her tears. While she does have a host of other miscellaneous abilities, none are particularly combat relevant. I don't think being able to telepathically communicate through dreams really helps in the fight. So after all that, is Pink Diamond dead? Well, sort of. For all intents and purposes, yes. Pink Diamond, Rose Quartz, is dead. Steven is a whole new incarnation, and people failing to accept that has put Steven through a lot of stress. But it was Steven who would eventually stop the Diamond Authority, forcing them to back down and renounce their ways. Would Pink be proud of this? Maybe. It's hard to say just how she would feel about how things played out. But one thing's for certain. Rose Quartz, whether she knew it or not, led to the salvation of the universe. And none of it would have happened if it wasn't for the love that Earth taught her.
We can't both exist. I'm going to become half of you. And I need you to know that every moment you love being yourself. That's me, loving you and loving being you. Because you're going to be something extraordinary. You're going to be a human being.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities. It's time for a death battle!
Nolan.
Rose. Pink Diamond. I know who you are, and I know what you've done. This world is going to be a safe haven for generations of Viltrumites to come. How do I know you won't throw them all under the rug when the mood hits you?
Nolan, please understand. Those days are behind me.
Even if that's the case, the Diamond Authority is breathing down our necks as long as you're here. I'm sorry, Rose, but you have to leave. The lives of many depend on it. For once, do the right thing.
I see how it is then. If there really is that much consequence to me sticking around, then I am sorry for your loss.
You're strong, Pink, but you lack the discipline.
I'll show you discipline.
Always something with you. Haven't had to do this in a while. I never wanted to be in this position again.
Do it. Oh, you really shouldn't have tried that.
That worked better last time. Shit! No more toys. Enough playing hero, Pink.
Playing? Playing? Do you have any idea what I've done to get here? How long it took? How many nights I spent locked away because my sisters thought me beneath them? I won't let you think the same. I'll show you all that I'm deserving. Now back off!
All right. No more running. We end this here.
Not quite here. I did it. Oh no. No. What did I do? I'm sorry.
KO! Hey, how come they were silhouetted against the moon? I thought we blew it up. Twice by now. While you might at first think Nolan would be equipped to take Pink down, quite the opposite was true. For starters, it shouldn't really come as a surprise that Rose had more tricks up her sleeve than Nolan did. For all of Nolan's strengths, he didn't have many abilities he could fall back on, compared to Rose's constructs and everything they could do. And, surprisingly, even with his strengths, Nolan's power didn't actually stack up to what diamonds are capable of. For Nolan, we could compare him to those starships that are capable of blasting apart sun-sized constructs with 290 zetatons of TNT. Nothing to scoff at, but the diamonds had him beat. Taking that massive flash of light the Diamond Authority made, even dividing it by 3 to account for the fact 3 diamonds made it, still puts its yield way higher than the sun disk feat. Even if we upscaled Nolan massively from the ship, you'd have to make him literally millions of times stronger to match the diamonds. And even if power was equal, Rose had him bested in speed as well. I admit, this surprised even us, but looking at that homeworld robot, its trip would be significantly faster than Nolan's was. Even if its travels took a whole 12 hours, it'd still be double what Nolan's fastest speed gets. So, bottom line, even if Nolan's stronger, Pink is fast enough to avoid him until she could, say, teleport him into the sun, something that would kill him with enough exposure. And if Nolan's faster, Pink's strong enough to stonewall his attacks. You would have to be incredibly generous to both Nolan's strength and speed for him to win here. Pink also likely had superior regeneration. Omni-Man's had 2 weak spots, his heart and brain, compared to Pink only being vulnerable from her gem, and gems have been able to recover from worse wounds than Viltrumites have, like, reforming their entire bodies. Nolan did have one massive advantage in his corner though. He was a way better fighter. Yeah, Nolan's been a seasoned soldier for millennia, and is trained to tussle with people his size, whereas Pink is still largely childish and has barely anything in terms of proper training or experience. However, even with Nolan being the more experienced fighter by a landslide, it didn't really help when Pink was so much faster and stronger than him. Being more skilled doesn't exactly help when your opponent can encase you in 15 layers of barriers. Pink also had better ranged options, though that goes without saying when Nolan's largely just a flying brick. And Pink's screams would potentially be able to stun Omni-Man's equilibrium, given they're strong enough to shatter walls. That level of power in and of itself isn't too impressive, but would be able to exploit Nolan's weakness to sonics. So, even in the event Nolan could try to utilize Pink's outbursts as weaknesses, her tantrums would actually in turn stun him a lot more effectively. Wiz, I really wasn't expecting us to say that the elite alien warrior is vulnerable to temper tantrums, but here we are. Nolan was an exceptionally honed and mighty warrior, but Pink Diamond's overwhelming power, cosmic speeds, and versatile abilities let her defeat the Viltrumite. Nolan learned that Diamond may not be invincible, but every rose has its thorns. The winner is Pink Diamond.